Hey everyone, and welcome back to the United Star. You know me, I'm Atanu, and you also know John Fry. He's been on our channel before, but I'll still give a little introduction about my good friend John. He's involved with a sports management company which goes by the name of 135 Not Out. He has his own women's football academy, the Get Pro Academy. He's involved with the UK Health Radio, and above all, he's a Manchester United fan like I am. So, welcome to the channel, John. How have you been?
Atanu, thank you very much. It's a pleasure, as it always has been. I'm well, thank you. Great to see you again.
Yeah, John, it's a pleasure to have you back on the channel. We loved you the last time you were around, and I thought, why not do another video? I know the timing's a bit off. The timings don't match often, but we're trying to make it happen. So we have John today, and we are going to be previewing the Manchester City game, the Manchester Derby. But before we start, John, you were at St. Andrews for the Birmingham City game. United won 2-0. So what were your thoughts about the game?
Well, first of all, it was great to go and see the ladies play. Almost ashamedly, it's my first time I've seen them play in the WSL. A lot of their games are obviously, well, the home games are over 200 miles each way. Not as much as you, Atanu, but obviously 200 miles each way for me to go. Plus with how busy I am with football, girls football, local grassroots football around where I am over weekends, it's been difficult. But we made arrangements to go and meet a couple of the Birmingham players for the academies that we're opening in that area. So it was just a bonus that United were playing. And yeah, it was a good game. I was a little bit disappointed with the first half. I thought they played a little bit defensively or negatively. Having said that, the most disappointing part of the game was Birmingham, actually. Every time United got the ball at Marriott's feet, Birmingham retreated to the halfway line, almost like going back to kids' football 5 years ago, to allow the youngsters to play out. And Aoife Mannion and Maria Thorisdottir didn't have any pressure on the ball. They locked it into Casey Zellum, who could turn and look up and pick her pass. But that obviously made it more congested up the pitch. So that was sort of a bit of a cancel out. They scored just before half-time with a goal from Leah Galton. Last year, I'd said several times, I felt that Leah Galton was Manchester United's best player, above Tobin Heath. Took a few jibes for that, but I still stick to it. Been a little bit disappointed with Leah so far this year. But the goal really sparked her into life. She was brilliant in the second half. Although I think that might have been counteracted by the half-time substitution with Katie Sandforth coming off and Kirsty Hansen coming on. And Kirsty just breathed a life into the team that they didn't have in the first half. When you're actually there and she's tearing up and down the wing in front of you, you can see how forceful she is, how aggressive she is. But what impressed me the most was her crossing with both feet. I definitely hope she plays against City. She's in my 11 against City, which we'll come on to. And that's not biased. That's actually on merit. But second half, United definitely deserve their win. They probably could have won by more. Having said that, until Ella Toon scored a goal on the 80th minute, Birmingham was still on the counter-attack. But as I said, the most disappointing thing was Birmingham, because out of the top four teams, Man United have shown this year, if there's a team that you press, it's Manchester United, because they do. Yeah, Chelsea showed that. So I was very disappointed with Birmingham. But having said that, they might have just been over-respecting United a little bit. But United deserve their win. Second half, they were fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll just come to the point that you made. Leah Galton, Super Leah Galton is back. I was also a bit concerned about her performances. I thought, what's happening and what's bothering her. But, she needed this goal. And like you said, she looked rejuvenated, Leah Galton, after that goal. The way she was controlling the ball, running down the wings, and just perfect. And I think, that one of my favorite players is Kirsty Hansen. And I've appreciated her pressing abilities a lot last time you were here. And you're absolutely right. She can cross the ball with both her feet, and she's pressing. She's working really hard on the pitch. And you also made a very valid point that if there is a side you want to press, that's Manchester United, because we have that weak midfield link where we tend to lose the ball a bit more than expected.
Yeah,
So I think, yes, we'll improve on that. I'm absolutely sure that Mark Skinner might be, looks at that and he knows that what should be done. But
yeah,
yeah, Birmingham City didn't actually challenge the likes of Aoife Mannion, Maria Thorsdottir, and Mary Ups. So
yeah.
I know, I think scoring 2 goals and getting a clean sheet, I'm really happy. We should have
Yeah,
scored more.
yeah, absolutely. And two other people that really impressed me was someone who I took a lot of jibes for last year by questioning some parts of her game, but knew she'd come good, was Ella Toon. Thankfully, that's been proved right. She was excellent again. Bit quiet in the first half, but again, for me, out of position on the right-hand side. She looked much better tucking in as a 10 with Kirsty Hansen on the right. And the first time I've obviously seen live, but seen her for a full game, and probably most United fans as well, was Alessia Russo. She is an absolute superstar. She is, if I say her a monster, I don't mean that in a bad light. I would, the equivalent of Haaland, I would say. Honestly, she is. I didn't realise how tall and big she was. She likes to come deep and get the ball. She's always aggressive, whether she's in control of the ball or whether she's challenging for it. The only thing coming deep does, if you haven't got Ella Toon as a number 10, is that there's nobody in the centre for those crosses from, so that's why I think it's important Ella Toon's a number 10. And even with Ella Toon as a 10, when Russo came deep, there was a couple of brilliant crosses by Leah Galton and Kirsty Hansen. They actually swapped wings a few times, which I like. I like Leah Galton on the right cutting in and Kirsty Hansen, but there were some great crosses, very, very good. And yeah, United's front four, I would be happy with that as a starting four from now on, with Ella Toon as the 10, Kirsty Hansen on the right, Leah Galton on the left, and Alessia Russo up front. And trust me, she is going to be an absolute superstar. She is, yeah, it's bonkers. She's huge in a good way, such a presence.
Yeah, I've talked to some other fans as well. They were telling that if Alessia Russo was fit last season, she would be up there fighting it for the Golden Boot with Sam Kerr and Fran Kirby up there. So I think Alessia Russo is a proper number 9. But, John, like you said that from now on, these 4 players should be our starting 11 players. But, I understand where Mark's coming from, because we don't have the depth in the forward line. Martha Thomas is injured. We haven't seen Ivana Fuso start a lot. Carrie Jones is still making that transition into the first team. She is training with the first team, but she might take some time to get into the starting 11 role. So I get why Mark is experimenting with Ella Toon, or playing her on the right, playing her as the false 9.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, her best position is the number 10 position. So we fans want her to play at her natural position. So we are also right in our perspective.
Absolutely. And, in all due respect to Birmingham, I said, because I've met a couple of the players, and if you're going to experiment for the City game, it's going to be against Birmingham, who had 3 games and 3 losses. But I think it just proved again that Ella Toon is better as a number 10. I think it's trying to play Jackie Gronin and Ella Toon. Having said that, he played Jackie Gronin as sort of an 6'8" on Sunday. I didn't think that particularly worked either. And just a couple of footnotes I took. Hayley Ladd and Vilda Bodarise were warming up in front of us, and they were warming up like Hayley Ladd was warming up like she knew she wasn't going to come on. There was no intensity in her warm up, and Vilda Bodarise was just warming up on her own. They were going in pairs normally. She was on her own, sort of daydreaming around, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It was just. I think she may be thinking, I can't speak for her, obviously, but I think she wonders why she's not starting. She was the big signing of the summer. She is the class act in the centre, I would say. And I think she's wondering why she's not starting. But, she's obviously either not training as well as the others, or there's something that not quite right, the reason she's not starting.
I think she has been doing well in the international break as well. We saw her with Norway. So I think it's something that Mark is trying to experiment. I wouldn't take it out on him, or I wouldn't take it out on the manager, on the player as well. Yeah. So I think in the City game, we might see VBR start or we might see VBR play some minutes. According to
Yeah,
me, our best midfield trio is Haley Ladd, Jackie Groenen, and Wilde Borisa. But then how do you accommodate Ella Toon? So there's a lot
yeah,
of dilemma. Like somebody has to stay out, but you
yeah.
can't put out Ella Toon. She's been doing really well.
I understood, and it's not a criticism of Mark Skinner at all. I'm going to back him 100%. And while he keeps getting results, you can't moan at him, even if it's your favourite player not playing. I know the Chelsea game was a blip, but the Chelsea game was almost one of them games that happens occasionally. It was too much of a beating for the team United had on. Having said that, I thought United were a lot better when Russo came on. And again, she's a handful. When people were saying last year, if she was fit, she'd be going for the Golden Boot. I never really got into it because I didn't really know enough about her. So for me, if I don't know enough about something, I don't comment on it because how can I give facts? But yeah, she's a handful. But I agree with you. I think the front four, when I come into giving my team, I would play Haley Ladd, Vilda Boarisa, who when she came on, took control of the midfield back. And I would play Ella too. Now, I know that's controversial because I do know how good Jackie Groenen is.
John, so sorry, I'll just interrupt. Let's start with
Yeah.
the starting 11 prediction. So you start with the goalkeeper and tell your 11
Okay.
players.
Well, even though she frightens me with the ball at her feet, I think Mary Earps has done nothing wrong in goal. I know there was a talk at the beginning of the season that who would be the number one between her and Bagley. But Mary Earps has the shirt. I still think she's probably the best shot stopper in the league. And she proved it again a couple of times on Sunday. Definitely number one. They switched the fullbacks a couple of times during the game. So I don't know who's going to play left. I don't know who's going to play right. But Onabacha, for me, is the class act in the squad. She is absolutely brilliant. I don't know where they unearthed her from. I don't know how everybody else missed her. But she is brilliant. And what I did notice, again, probably being at the pitch on Sunday, because I go there to watch. You know, I'm boring. I don't sing and that. I go there to watch. I didn't realise how quick Hannah Blundell was. She is lightning. And that's probably, again, why we're keeping more or letting less goals in apart from Chelsea, because you've got that pace both sides to cover, the centre-backs. I'm happy with the centre-back partnership with Aoife Mannion and Maria Torres-Dottir. I think they're both learning to play together. I think they're both strong. I think they fall into the trap a bit like Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof, is they think they're Messi sometimes when they're on the ball, Messi or Ronaldo. But you know, all of us defenders try to be occasionally. Yeah, but I think they're really good. Coming onto my midfield, that's probably the only controversial pick would be I would play Haley Ladd for her defensive qualities. For me, she's the best number 6 in the team. Vilda Boarisa, for me, has to start just because she's got that touch of class. And I wouldn't play Ella Toon wide. So who do you play, Ella Toon or Jackie Groenen? I know Jackie Groenen is a fantastic player, but when it comes down to it, your number 10 has to score goals. And bless Jackie Groenen, but she's now getting Twitter playbacks on her misses if they're a foot wide, because Jackie, it's going to come soon. Jackie, sorry, if you're going to be in front of Ella Toon, it needs to go in, if that makes sense. Great player she is, and it's almost a waste not starting her, but you have to do what's best for the team. And I think with Boarisa and Ladd, it protects the defence. Boarisa controls the game, and Ella Toon's the best number 10 in the team. Something I didn't say last year, but I am saying this year, she's fabulous as this year. And then Kirsty definitely on the right. Leah Galton, I don't think that even needs to be discussed on the left. And I hope people see what I saw in Alicia Russo, and I can just agree with those people that were saying it all before. Definitely the number 9. It's a shame again for Ivana Fuso, who you said. I think she's got something about her. She's got good movement, good football brain, I think, for her age. But I don't know where she's going to fit in, if that makes sense. I don't think the women play enough to rotate like the men. But yeah, that would be my starting 11.
And Leah on Kirsty on the wings, right?
Kirsty on the right, Leah on the left, Alessia Russo up front.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll just state my 11. It's
Yes,
somewhat similar.
please.
It's somewhat similar, but in my idea, in my mind, I think Marc is not starting Haley Ladd because right now Millie Turner is injured, and the only maybe it's a makeshift centre back or a backup centre back
Yeah,
is only Haley Ladd. So
yeah.
it's a bit dicey if you start all the three together and you don't have any
Okay.
centre backs on the pitch. So that's why I think
Yeah.
he isn't starting Haley Ladd. I adore Haley Ladd. I really want Haley Ladd to start. I really wanted her to start against Chelsea, but
Yeah.
I don't know why she didn't start. So I'll just say that I think we'll start with like you said, Mary Ops, Ona Bache, Hannah Blundell, Aoife Mannion, and Maria Daughter. The back
Yeah.
five is secured. In the midfield, I think we'll start with Jackie Groenen and Wilde Borisa as the double pivot, and Ella Toon as the attacking midfielder, and the front
Yeah.
three is same. So I think the only difference in your team and my team is that Haley Ladd doesn't start in my team.
Yeah.
And I just, right now I'm saying that Haley Ladd doesn't start in my team. I'm really feeling bad that I haven't included him in my team.
I think you're right. I think he'll do that. That's the team I would play. I think you're right. I even think he might go with the same team he did against Birmingham.
Yeah.
And not start Vilda Risa either. Just because the team won, the second half of the team looked good, even though I think it was better with Kirsty Hansen on and with Vilda Risa on. But he might, you never know, that might be his 11 with Katie Zellum and Jackie Groenen. Katie Staniforth, as the 10. She didn't do a lot wrong in the first half. It was just a quiet first half, and not many managers do make changes at half time. I just thought Kirsty breathed life into the team.
Like Lucy Stanford did make those through balls and, first finding those spaces for the attackers. But, she was on a yellow card and I was like, we can't really have that red card and be down
That's
to 10
fair.
men.
That's a fair comment. And I think the team was a bit lackluster and needed a Kirsty Hansen on there. And I also find that even though I was watching from the stands in the first half when United were in the defensive side because they were attacking the other end, from what I saw, Ella Toon doesn't really make the runs in behind when she's on the wing. I may be wrong. I couldn't see as much down that end. And Staniforth plays those little balls, doesn't she, through the channels. So perhaps she's better with Kirsty Hansen on the right if she's playing the 10. I don't know.
Yeah. So, this Manchester City side is a very weakened Manchester City side. And,
Definitely.
Gareth Taylor is doing things that I don't know what the hell is he doing.
No.
He's even saying in the press conferences that he's not going to include the academy players because they aren't matured enough and they don't know how they aren't very familiar with the first team setup. But I think you can't really say that in the press conferences. And right now I won't want to make this video about criticizing Gareth Taylor, but I think it's high time that he realizes that start inculcating the academy players into the first team. Make them train with the first team, even if you don't include them in the match day squad. It's like if I'm an academy player and I'm hearing what Gareth Taylor has to say about me, I'd feel very ashamed, and I'd feel very bad that my senior team manager is saying that.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a great thing to say. If he'd have incorporated them when City were doing well and they'd have come into a good, happy, confident environment, they would have been ready, potentially, or one or two of them might have been ready to pick the pieces up with all the injuries. It's always best, isn't it, to come into an environment that's happy, that's confident, and that's winning. And City had a good season last year. I mean, it was only because Chelsea finished the season so strongly that City didn't win the league. So I wasn't sure what he was, but I understand what you're saying. He's playing Becky right back, and she's a converted forward, I believe. Jill Scott, well, we'll go with what they played in the last game. Jill Scott centre back, no pace, really. Converted midfielder. Alex Greenwood, I know she's played there, but effectively a converted left back. And obviously Stokes, who is a left back. And that's another reason for playing Toon as the 10, because as soon as we get the ball in transition, she can get between the lines with Walsh. I think Walsh plays the central midfielder, or Weir, and she can start putting pressure. Because if I was Russo, I would tell Russo to go and sit on Scott, basically. She'll outpower her, she was quicker than her, and then that leaves Toon to put pressure on Greenwood. And I would just go for the throat, play between the lines and go for the throat in transition once we've got the ball.
And even if we aren't doing really well from the middle, we have 2-star fullbacks and 2-star wingers as well.
Yeah. And yeah, just put pressure. I mean, Stokes is obviously a decent player, but Kirsty Hansen can hold her own. But you've got Leah Galton against Becky, who is, I'm not saying Becky's a bad player, but I don't think she's a right back. And so I think Leah, that would be my method of attack. Russo on Scott and Galton against Becky, push up high on them. If they haven't got anybody back.
Yeah. So right now I'm seeing the table on my phone and I'm seeing Man United on the 4th position, Manchester City on the 9th position, and we are 6 points ahead of them. This is the perfect opportunity for Marc Skinner for showing that we can win against the traditional big teams in the WSL. We can go 9 points ahead of our neighboring rivals. So I think we should take it, because we won't get a better opportunity than this. Man City have been dropping points. They lost against West Ham in the last game 2-0. So if West Ham can defeat Manchester City 2-0, why can't Manchester United? That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. And it is a good time. They've got, probably 3 defenders that either aren't defenders or aren't playing in their favoured position out of the 4 defenders. And United's strength is probably their attack. So I think we just have to match up with them, hit their weak areas. And you're right, it is a good time. I mean, Manchester United have beaten, is it Leicester, Birmingham and Reading. So you would expect United to take 9 points out of that, with all due respect to the other teams. I work with 2 of them. So we all do, you know what I mean? So I'm saying that respectfully. And they did get played off the park by Chelsea, but when you go 1-0 down inside the first minute through your own error, it does throw the game plan out the window. So I would just take it as one of them games that you just put a line through and back to keep your confidence up. So yeah, this is probably what I'd say is the first test, because you've got to say respect to Arsenal, the way they've bounced back this year and the way they've started. So you're probably saying this is potentially on all known sort of history and form. City, I can't see City getting in the top 2 now. So this is probably the battle for 3rd. And if United can still go and win the league. Let's not say they can't. But, if United cannot finish in those top 2 positions, City would be their challengers for 3rd. So if they can go and get 9 points in front of them, that's a huge margin. And under Marc Skinner, and without whatever happened, if Dubai affected the team morale, the players obviously knew Casey Stoney was leaving, without that sort of deflating them, without the injuries to Leah Galton and Tobin Heath, I can't see United doing what they did in the second half of this season, what they did last season. So to get 9 points in front of City, I think is pretty big.
Yeah, and like you said, we are seeing Arsenal doing really good. Chelsea will bounce back. We know that. City are struggling
100%.
with those injuries. So time for United to, I won't say challenge for the title, but as a United fan, I want us to win the FAWSL trophy every season.
Yes.
But I think first step is to get into the top 3 and qualify for the UWCL. And while you're at it, if you have if you think you can go at the top, might as well do it. Might as well surprise every other team and show that Marc Skinner is a good coach.
Exactly. And I think they're only going to improve, as they to play under him. He wants to come in, fair play to him. It's not really his team, although you wouldn't look for many replacements. One thing I would just say of note, and any team that's got Stanway and Shaw on the bench have to be respected. If United go there and think they've just got to turn up, which I'm not saying they will, but you know how teams can when they think, oh, look who's in the defence. United will have to go there and play well. Oh, sorry, it's at least LSV, isn't it? So United will have to play well, because as I said, if you can put Stanway and Shaw on the bench, you're dangerous. But I think this, as you're right, I think you're exactly 100% right, Tanu, that this is the best time to play City. People go on about the wounded animal bouncing back, but they've made a few errors this year. And yes, it's a derby. Form probably goes out the window, but I think United have got to be happy with their 1-11. Even if he plays the team that played against Birmingham with Katie Zellum starting and Staniforth starting, he obviously sees something to play them. So we just got to back him. And yeah, look for 3 points on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. So before we, wrap this video up, I wanted to ask you about Get Pro Academy. Last time you were here, you told us about the academies that you will be setting up at the end of the year. So tell us about that, John.
Well, basically what we're doing is we're offering a pathway for girls from grassroots to academies. No, there's no funding, as we know, in the women's game. Scouts don't go out and look at players at grassroots and get them into academies. So I've done very well previously with Chelsea and Reading, to the point where I can just pick up the phone and give them a list of names. The players haven't got to go to their foundation. It doesn't mean they get into the squads. What it means is they guaranteed a trial. So they get in the trial, even if it's oversubscribed, even if they're out of postcode, or we can get them into the trials. Got 2 into Reading and 2 offered contracts with Brentford as well this summer, which was really good. So my one's going well. And I've been speaking with coaches that I know and people that I know in different areas of the country to see if we can use this template elsewhere. Because where I live is just scratching the surface, if that makes sense. So we've got templates. What we do, though, is to add a little bit extra is we offer high qualified coaching. Each head of each one has got to be at FA level 2 or above, and we tend to have above that. And again, it's not a threat to the local grassroots teams because we're not setting teams up. We're just offering extra coaching to get the girls into academies. Each academy trials about 150 girls per age group for about 3 or 4 spaces. So it's very competitive. So we're looking to open one in Manchester soon, where we're pretty much got a pro lined up. Birmingham, where again the same. And there's one in Newbury where we'll be using Reading pros who come to my one. We've also got one opening up in Kent. So we're hoping to have 5 by the middle of November up and running, which is great. And then we're in talks with others in London. And all we want to do is provide a pathway for girls to show them they can get from just playing on a Saturday in grassroots to going to academies. It's very difficult. As I said, there's no funding. And so, yeah, we just offer them once a week extra coaching to see if we can help them get to that extra 1 or 2% to what they need to go to academies.
John, just the work that you've been doing is so inspirational. And, this is something that we fans can do. Like, we fans are doing our bit, and, you are laying a benchmark for other potential investors to come in and, have a similar model, helping the young players to get to the academies, giving them the opportunity, giving them the stepping stone to become a pro and become the next Tobin Heaths, the Kristen Presses, and etc. etc. So absolutely,
it's great when they do.
Yeah,
it's great when they get that contract. And look, as I said, we do it. Obviously, the clubs appreciate it. But they do it as well because they benefit. It's not like, because they get to see players at the trials they probably wouldn't have seen, So, and it also helps because we give them a little bit of knowledge and say, look, this person plays better here. She's 2-footed or they're 1-footed or we're working on this as a plan. So it does help. But yeah, anything we can do to help young girls that want to be a footballer, we're more than happy to do so. And as I said, mine's now running, my local one. We've got 4 others hopefully opening up in the next 4 or 5 weeks. It's that close on them all, because once we've got the coaches that we trust, because obviously with everything that's come out in America, safeguarding is imperative, but also quality coaching. If you're charging money for people to coach their pride and joy, you have to make sure that it's good quality coaching for them, and you prove you've got the connection with the clubs. So yeah, it is satisfying and it's very nice when they get it. But yeah, the clubs benefit from it as well. They're not just saying, "Oh, John, you're thanks for doing this," but they benefit from it hugely as well. But I do get little perks, I can use the training pitches in the clubs and stuff like that. So it does help.
Yeah, definitely, John. And what a way to end this video on a positive note. Whatever John's been doing, I'm really proud of it. The whole United Star team
Thank
has
you.
obviously listened to it in the last video as well, when John told us about the Get Pro Academy and its main objectives. And John, once again, whatever the work you've been doing, it's been so inspirational. And this is something that each of us can just make a voice. Just invest more into the women's football teams, invest more into the grassroots, invest more into the academies, so the girls get a chance to showcase their talent at the bigger stage.
Thank you, Atanu. I do appreciate your words. It's I want Get Pro Academy to be the thing to go to for girls to get the step up to the next level. We have to work hard, and we have to make sure that the girls are, as I said, coached properly. But yeah, it is very satisfying when they get a trial. And thank you very much for your kind words. It does mean a lot, because it does need this. The girls' game does need this. And if we have any influence in a girl going to professional football or playing for their national team, well, that's really, it just makes us so happy.
Yeah, definitely, John. And we are United fans at the end of the day, and we want United to win as well. So 3 points at the LSV, 9 points ahead of Manchester City is what I am looking at. John, score predictions?
I think it's going to be 2 goals, either 2-0 or 3-1. And the reason I've said that, I think if United go 3-0, they might set up and let City in. But United need to start smart, need to not lose the ball in dangerous areas. And if they can just get over that, I think City will come at them quite hard early on, because they will want to bounce back. But I think if United can get over the first 10, 15 minutes, even if it's 0-0, I think they can then get into the game, hopefully Kirsty Hansen will play, start getting the ball wide to those 2 wingers, feed Russo, get her pushing Jill Scott back if Jill Scott's in the centre back position. And hopefully Ella Toon will be playing the 10. And I think United can win this. And I'm actually quite confident they can win it. But as I said, just one note of caution, that any team that can have Shaw and Stanway on the bench have to be dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. And well, hopefully 3 points at the LSV. Thank you so much for coming on the channel, John. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you, John. So we are the United Star. Do subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.